Hello and welcome to another episode of What Now?
Jom Lepak. And today we're at another guest house. Ya, so kita mesti melompat je sini.
Kau lah pandai masuk tiba-tiba cakap nak datang kau boleh?
Aduh, tapi kali ni kita we're really excited for our next guest ni sebenarnya. Okay, sebab we actually met at Norman Alihan's story night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sebab I saw one of my student.
Yeah,
from Sri Aisha when I was working as a part-time teacher.
Okay.
His name is Adam.
Okay.
And then so tiba-tiba terserempak dengan abang dia.
Wait. So this is the brother to your student?
Yes.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
Oh.
So kiranya kita makan-makan dekat mama, and then we were talking about how his dad worked with Norman Alihan.
Wow.
Yeah, and then
Very long story. Wow.
Pretty long story, yeah. And now we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've shared a lot of stories.
Yeah. Like one thing that really caught my eye was his experience as an MPP ataupun Majlis Perwakilan Pelajar di Heriot Watt University. And that's why we're bringing him here today.
Alright. Let's hear his stories.
But before we hear his stories, we gotta, shout out to our sponsors.
Whoa, okay.
Whoa, got sponsors.
Nah, they're not actual sponsors, but
But I mean, sponsor us.
Gaya mesti ada kan?
Betul, gaya mesti ada.
It starts with that.
Yes, betul.
starts with that.
But these props are actually quite essential to the conversation later,
Okay.
right? Okay, so but before we start our podcast, we gotta say what is Wana Jom Lepak. We always forget this part every time in the recording. So
You tell me what is. I know generally, but I think he knows more.
He just threw the ball back at you, Haikal.
Right, so Wana Jom Lepak is a podcast, is a youth podcast where we share stories about amazing young people in Malaysia. Okay, and it's a Manglish podcast, so Ilya nanti boleh cakap bahasa Melayu ke, boleh cakap bahasa Inggeris ke, ataupun kalau nak lebih advance sikit kan, cakap bahasa Cina ke, bahasa India ke.
Also, it's not just Manglish then.
I mean, Manglish is, you know what I'm saying? Manglish is like Malaysian English. So like Malaysia has a lot of languages, so Manglish.
Yeah, that's true.
I see.
Yeah. So
I
that's
see,
why it's
I see.
Manglish, right? So we cover a lot of topics here, from social issues, from current issues, personal development, a lot of stuff lah.
Yeah.
Okay, and we got this description from Bard, by Google Bard.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was pretty cool, man.
Faham.
And yeah, we're natural storytellers.
Totally.
Yeah. What he said.
Yep.
Right, okay, but before we're done with the intro a bit. Now, we changed a bit of the format since our last meeting with Carissa. That we don't tell the questions.
Betul.
We're going to just ask the questions on the spot. Yeah. Don't
So
worry.
what we used to do was we used to like we have like a few questions, right? We just tell them everything and then nanti dia orang jawab satu-satu lah. Maksudnya macam
I see.
naturally just go, I think we can move to the next question and macam, but then they already know the question. But this time we're gonna go back to how we used to do before,
Yeah.
which is just ask whenever we feel like it lah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So itulah
That
baru
works.
lepak kan Aziz?
Betul.
Buat apa
Yes,
kita
yes.
nak bagi satu formal sangat? Kan?
Yeah. Jom Lepak.
Jom lepak, yeah. Okay, so before we start going to our conversation, so Ilya, so since you're here, I wanna ask you, how would you describe yourself as a person?
I would say I'm very enthusiastic.
Okay.
Very try hard. Competitive, I would say. And always happy to mix around and meet and talk to new people.
Cool. Very nice. And you're also part of the baseball national team?
Yes. That's me.
Yeah, like, your life is pretty interesting as a whole, right? Because like, not only you're just, an athlete, right? And quite an underrated sport in Malaysia, right? Just tengah membangun. But you're also like a leader, a student leader in your own university.
Let's hear about that.
Yeah. So he's a graduate from Heriot Watt University, and in some way he's kind of like my mom's junior.
Faham.
Yeah, because
Different campus.
Different
Same
campus. Same
Where
uni.
is Heriot Watt actually?
It's in Precinct 5 in Putrajaya. So
That's
it's
pretty-
literally like a 7-minute ride. Like from my room, I go down to my car, drive over there, park into my office, 7 minutes.
Wow. Sekejap je lah.
Yes.
It
Oi.
takes you 5 minutes. Tak jam eh?
No, not at all actually. At least okay, there's one part of the day where it's jam, which is like 4 to 5. But 4 to 5 it's jam on the way there, and I'm coming back.
I see.
I see. Okay,
I
okay.
see. Okay lah tu.
Very very convenient actually. So while I was working at Heriot Watt, it's just being a 7-minute drive away. It's easy to come back and forth. Even during a lunch break, I can come back and help my parents if needed.
If needed. But like, kenapa you nak sambung belajar dekat Heriot Watt? Kenapa tak nak masuk IPTA ke?
IPTA. What's IPTA?
Oh, okay.
Oh no!
Exposed. Okay, IPTA is basically Institut Pengajian Tinggi Awam.
Okay, I see. Alright, so Heriot wasn't my first choice actually. I initially wanted to go study in Purdue as well.
Purdue.
I was talking about it.
Yeah,
but-
yeah, yeah.
So my father went to Purdue. That's why all the sons want to go to
Oh,
Purdue.
Purdue's in the States.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know where in the States, so don't ask me. But I know it's in the States. And
Somewhere
at
in
the
the
time when I just graduated high school and I was applying for different roles, that was the #1 university in the world for actual science.
Oh.
And that was the field that I was interested in getting into. So my my roadmap was I get into Nexus international school, and I do the international baccalaureate diploma program over there. And after that, I used that to take my SATs and then get into Purdue. But what happened was when I was applying for the scholarships, I applied for 100% scholarship because Nexus is one of the more pricey
Definitely.
foundation programs out there.
I see.
I only got offered the 50% scholarship. So Hero was still more affordable.
Affordable, I see.
Yeah. And normally actual science in Malaysia, if you choose to study it, the top choices are normally between Sunway and Heriot Watt because they offer the most exemptions. So if you want to become like an associate or fellow under the International Institute Faculty of Actuaries, which is a UK branch or organization, you normally go one or the other.
So, actual science is basically more on data lah kan?
So it's risk management.
Oh,
Calculating risk.
calculating
and,
risk.
It's similar to statistical data science because I'll consider that like the tool.
Yeah.
But they teach you to apply it in insurance and finance specifically. Yeah. So even in Heriot Watt, the first year you have the exact same courses as the statistical data science students. Then the second year is like half. Then the third year it's like pretty much more specialized already.
Patutlah jadi leader. You know how to take risk.
Yes. I mean, we are in the age where it should be highly encouraged for us to take risks because this is when we are supposed to put ourselves out there.
Yeah, betul. Tapi I think risk is mostly taken at a young age lah. Sebab there's nothing, I wouldn't say there's not a lot to lose, but like macam it's still safe to take risk lagi lah.
No commitments.
No, I mean like personally for me like, macam you still like searching out, right? So macam
Finding you.
yeah, finding yourself.
Yeah.
So take as much risk as you can lah when you still have the time. Betul? Okay. Tapi itulah, you're a man of, you're a man of many things, of course, right?
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of humans have a lot going on in their own lives.
In the future maybe more.
Itulah.
Yes, I will be doing my best.
Alright. So I think we'll start with the first question that we have for you, right, Ilya, is that okay, so since you entered Heriot Watt University kan,
Right.
okay, so you kalau pelajar biasa, dia nak belajar aja, kan, belajar habis graduate kerja. Itu orang kata stereotypical ataupun standard lah, jalan yang biasa orang ambil.
Yeah.
Tapi untuk Ilya ambil jalan yang agak luar biasa lah. Sebab dalam pertengahan semester around your year, right, you pilih untuk jadi student leader.
Yes.
Okay, you become a student leader and you've actually had quite amazing achievements at the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Thank you.
I mean, you can later list down in your stories lah. Okay. No, because like before this podcast, we just had a little conversation with Ilya. Yeah. So, how has joining the student body impacted your life? So, once you've entered it.
So it's actually impacted my life in many ways. I feel like if I definitely wouldn't have changed anything, like where I stand today and what I've done. I wouldn't say everything was perfect. I had a lot of challenges that I had to overcome. I can actually start with like a short or like a sneak peek into one of the stories. So
Boleh.
when I decided to become the sports officer in my second year of my studies, of course, when you come in and want to apply, right, one of the worries you have is like, am I going to be able to manage my time? There's going to be extra work. I'm not particularly doing super well in my studies right now. And a lot of the times when you ask people like, oh, why don't you do more extracurricular activities? The common answer is I don't have the time, right?
That's true.
And I have to study, right, as a student.
That's right.
And one question that I decided to ask myself at the time, right, is it true that I really don't have enough time, or do I just not know how to use it?
Wow. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And that's where I kind of decided that that was where I kind of took my leap of faith. And considering Spider-Man just came out, I think that's pretty cool.
It's just a leap of faith.
Yeah. When do I know I'm Spider-Man? This is just a leap of faith.
We're just waiting for that radioactive spider bite.
Yeah. But that's where I decided that I was watching a lot of motivational videos at the time as well.
Okay.
So one of the things that they're saying is that if you want to take over the island, burn your boats.
Okay.
Because humans, if they're more likely to die or succeed, they're more likely to succeed. So when I jumped, my leap of faith was that I decided at the time that I'm gonna put myself in a situation, right, where I had no option but to learn to manage my time properly, but to learn to make the most of my time, and that was by taking up extra responsibility, and that's when I was like, actually I say I don't have time, but I spend most of my time like playing game or on social media, scrolling and stuff like that, right?
That's true.
It's like, how can I make the most out of the time that I have? And when I put myself in the situation, that's where I began learning scheduling, time blocking. The value of my time went up because I actually started looking at, okay, this is how many hours I have in a day. This is what I want, or this is what's important to me, and this is what I want to put in those hours of the day. And when I began consciously doing that, that's when I feel like my life began to shift and in a direction overall. Conversations that I had became more meaningful. The time I spent on my own thinking to myself became more meaningful, and I personally grew a lot from that. Yeah, and I think it shaped me into the person I am today, for sure.
You know what? This reminds me a lot of our previous guests,
Carissa?
Carissa and Muzammil.
Faham? I think you can definitely see lah. In order to achieve success, you gotta make use of your time.
Yeah, but I think you kind of force yourself to make sure that you have better time management.
Yeah, it was definitely a leap of faith, because I feel that when you have that safety net to come back to, it's always easy to fall back into your. I don't want to like call people out, but your bad habits personally, and I feel that when I decided to take responsibility over my life and what I'm doing and what I spend in my hours of my day, that's when it became a lot more. It's kind of like I realized this is something that I really want to be doing. Would I look back at this 5 years from now and go like, I think I made good use of my time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Faham? Have you ever had that, Tazi? Like macam
No. No, I mean like when it comes to deciding things like things like I want to do, like say macam taking part in a certain competition ke, dedicating my time to training for something ke, kan. In those situations I would think about it lah, like do I actually want to do this? Do I not do this? Yeah. And usually I'll just go with just do it.
just do it.
Yeah.
Head first, then think, right?
Yeah, I think that's definitely. I have a rule for like when do I decide how much thinking is overthinking? Right?
Okay.
So I say that when you think to the point of inaction, that's overthinking.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like if you're thinking too long about it, normally, even like let's say getting up from bed, for example, you know how you feel in the bed, you're like comfortable, I want to sleep back. It's like. That's why I have the 3-second rules. Like, don't let me convince myself to stay in bed. 3 to 1 and go. Yeah.
You know what? I think everybody needs to apply this in this room.
Oh, sorry. I see that reference.
I mean, no, including myself. I came in a bit late, by the way. 9:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking even later, but it's fine. Apologize for that.
Aduh. Okay. But wow, you really value your time when, you know.
Definitely. I wouldn't say everything is perfect. Like, there's still times where I do fall out of it. But I feel like that awareness is, at least gives me the, what's the word? The drive to do something about it.
Right.
And I think as humans, it's normal to, you know, fall out of the train every now and then.
Yeah. But I think it's important to always go back to the same track, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, since you spend a lot of your time in, you know, menjadi apa ni MPP, do they call it MPP? Kan baca.
We call it school. We call it, we just call it like officer.
Officer.
Yeah.
So what do you do as an officer? Supposedly, you said sports officer, kan?
So the thing is, even when I became the president of FUMSA last year, right, we noticed that there's a lot of things that aren't defined in every aspect when it comes to joining the student council. And a lot of times when you come in as a leader, right, as a president, yes, you have the responsibilities you have on paper, but at the end of the day, when you're at the top of any organization, right, you actually decide what's right or wrong. And you take responsibility of whatever the outcome is outside of that. So there's no one out there to tell you that what you're doing is right. In fact, you do it, then you have an outcome, then you decide whether it was a good outcome or not also. Then you decide whether you want to continue doing it or not.
That's right.
As sports officer specifically at the time, I was in charge of the clubs and societies in the sports department. So we have, I think at the time was 12 to 16 sports clubs. And it was in the middle of the pandemic when I joined. So on top of overlooking, that means I decide how the budget is allocated among the sports clubs in the university. I'm also in charge of running the sports events in the university. And those were the only two defined responsibilities that I have. So when I came in, those were the responsibilities that was given to me. But one of the reasons why I came in is because as a second year student, actually when I was in my first year, I looked for the sports officer, right? I asked, I want to represent the university. How can I represent the university, right? And she told me at the time, it's like, that's not my job. And I was like, who else am I supposed to go to? It's like the only sports officer. And the thing is, she was the only sports role that we had in the entire university. So I would understand that, you know, you can't throw everything onto that one person either, right? So when I came in, one of the ideas I proposed in my interview itself, right, was look at Sunway. Sunway has a sports student council. We only have one position for sports. So I was like, we should have, I proposed a sports council. So after a lot of tugging back and forth with the president of, at the time, right, we decided to start a sports department. So now we have a whole team in the student council dedicated to developing sports for students in the university. So yes, my responsibility was just taking care of clubs and running sports events. But what I was actually doing was a bit more than that. Yeah.
Wow. Now, tell me about the part where you created a system. Because when we were talking just now kan, you said that macam kat Heriot Watt tu tak ada sistem yang boleh cari talent untuk masuk apa ni ke any acara or any competitions. So walk us through that.
Okay, so the system that I initiated isn't the system that was created and being applied now. So I started it off, I made a lot of noise to like the students and the people. I'm like, we don't have this, we don't have that, and you know, we should have this, we should have that, you know. And I eventually had a few people that kind of jumped on that wagon with me and decided like, you know, this is actually, and normally it's athletes that come in and go like, you know, we should have this as a university. And it's because how they selected our university teams last time was, this is my personal experience. I came in, I wanted to join the futsal team, right? And the university had no say in who represents the university at the time. But at the same time, they didn't have money put in there, which is the reason why I feel like they didn't put as much attention there. But I went to try out. They put all of us into like 3 different courts. And then you have the president, who's a student by the way, just walking around, go like, oh, this guy is pretty cool, this guy is pretty cool. And then at the end, they go like, okay, this is the name list, right? So if you don't show, let's say I'm playing like I do my crazy shot, I dribble past 5 people and score, but they don't see it, right? Then I don't get any opportunity to join the team either. So there wasn't even like that equal opportunity to join. And
Betul.
most of the time you will see that in that name list is probably like, oh, all their kawan. And it's because there wasn't a proper system in place. I'm not blaming them either, because it's the best that they could have probably done, right? So I came in, I wanted to introduce, I call it the 3-factor selection system. So one was on your physical capability, so like a fitness test, and then your technical capability. That means, you know, drills, how well can you shoot, how accurate can you pass and whatnot, right? And the last was game analysis. That means we get you to play a game and we see how you perform in a game. And this is normally to analyze how well you work in a team. Like, are you a team player? Are you the kind of person that leads others? What do you do when the team is under pressure? How do you react to the team under pressure? And I want to kind of create that so we can have, as an actual science student, we have a database. And eventually, we create a system where we also have a good balance of junior and senior players. So then we can always call them back. And whenever our senior players graduate, right, we don't have to start from scratch to look for a team from scratch, but rather we've had junior players who have had experience playing in the first team that can become the new seniors. And that continuously, I felt like would have eventually developed. The current system has like 5 different stages, which I'm not sure what it is about, but I know it's being applied by the current situation. But that was what I was trying to get done at the time. Yeah.
But it also became a marketing point for the university, kan?
That was one. So the thing is, when I propose this kind of stuff, right, I gotta try and convince the university why it's worth putting your money or attention into this.
Yeah.
So I was saying that, okay, before I said that, the reason why I do that is because you want to convince anyone to do anything for you, right? You have to show them that in the world that you win, they win as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if let's say I just showing the this.
So jangan marah bro.
I'm very excited already. Right. But in a world where let's say if I'm trying to convince you that you can come over here for the podcast, and I tell you how I would benefit from it, but I don't tell you anything about how you would benefit from it. Would you want to go?
No.
I'm like, I can give this to you. You know, you come do this with me, right? You can get this, you can get A, you can get C. Then only it sounds a bit more
convincing.
Yeah. So this is the same thing when it comes to negotiating with anyone. So when I told the university, I said, with this kind of data, the kind of stuff you could do, the kind of things you could promote, you can start attracting more athletes to come in. When it comes to, like, let's say showing your students as graduates, right? You can tell your employers, this is how they work in a team. This is how they react under pressure, right? And those were some of the things I was proposing at the time, lah.
Damn, actually, when you think.
But they didn't actually use that, for the record. Yeah, I was just proposing.
Okay.
That's kind of normal, Just start with something and then they develop it into something else. That's kind of normal.
Yes.
It's out of your hands,
Yes.
anyways.
Betul.
But that's the thing, the intention and the vision. It's kind of like whenever you come in a team, right? Even if I come in, I wouldn't say that the system I was trying to create is the most perfect.
Yeah.
But let's say even as a leader, if we all share the same vision, right? And normally as a leader as well, right? I know there's that saying that you're not supposed to be the smartest in the room. Because normally if let's say if I'm a marketing guy, right? And I'm the leader of the marketing team, but I can graphic design better than anyone else out there. Then I bring a graphic designer, right? Every time he designs something, I'll be like, that's horrible, do it again. Or I'll eventually I might as well do it myself.
Betul.
That's not really leading anymore.
That's right.
Right? So it's same when it comes to this. The important thing or the role of the leader is to make sure that the team of really capable individuals, right, are able to share one vision. And then bring that vision to reality. Yeah.
Wow.
So whatever he's doing, probably better than what I could have done. Hopefully. I would like to think. So.
You're having some thoughts with this, Aziz?
Yeah. To be honest, yeah. Because I'm involved in a few positions as leader as well, president of the fencing club. So macam, although this we're just on our week 14, so we have like a few more weeks, just 1 week of study week and then the exam. So that's the last of this academic year, which is I'm letting go of the position as president. But this time memang my first time, because I was the one that brought up this club. And then macam, so it's like my first run. I don't have any seniors to refer to or anything, so it's entirely on me. And I can say that my leadership has been Yeah.
Okay lah.
Okay lah. Not the best, but it's been okay. But like, you know, all the points you're saying, you know, makes me think about, okay, what can I do this? Although I'm letting go, I am planning on, since I have another academic year, I plan on macam at least supervising as, you know, the next president takes over kan. So I can give out these points so it can help further the team lah.
Yeah. One of the things that a lot of the leaders, or at least that I've seen, struggle with is actually delegation.
Yes.
Right?
That's
and I feel like it's difficult because you want to draw the line between what's the best for the organization and what's the best for the team.
Okay.
So normally as a leader, you will want to look at your teammates in a way that how can I best help this person grow as a person? Because eventually this person, I want them to be able to make decisions on their own because they're eventually going to take after me. Right? And I actually can relate to what you're saying as well. And I would say that was actually one of my first... I don't like to call it a failure, but I founded the baseball club.
Yeah.
In my university as well, my first year.
Satu geng ni.
Yeah. I couldn't find anyone to take over the club for like the 2 years, you know. And the way and at the end, I think I was doing everything. Like I did the graphic designing, I did everything until I reached a point where I actually found like one friend that really liked graphic design. Then I brought her in. But that's only because she liked graphic designing. So I was like, okay, you like it then. But the thing is, because I knew she liked that, right? Although she had nothing to do with baseball, but I knew she liked graphic designing, right? That was actually the best working dynamic I had. With everyone else, right? Let's say administrative, treasury and whatnot, right? Because they weren't as passionate as me, right? And because they were like my friends, it was like, in Chinese we'll say paiseh, like, how to say I feel bad to give them work on.
Okay.
Right, like asking them like as if they want to do a favor for me, right? And because of that, I ended up doing a lot of the work. But at the same time, how that bit back at me is that eventually, when it comes to the end of the term, when I have to hand it over, right, I don't have anyone
to hand it over to.
Always ready to. Even though I had some juniors that could have taken. And even let's say if they were passionate about it, right, I didn't give them enough experience on their own to be able to constantly bring it over. Yeah. I know it feels. You're probably like, and considering it's the end of your term also, you're like, not much you can do about it now. Yeah. But I feel like that was very important. But then actually you need to strike a balance still. Because during my baseball club, right, that happened. I actually found someone to take over for like 1 year, but I wouldn't say that I handled it over as well as I could. Like similar to what I was saying, the challenge that I had. But I did it anyway, and if I didn't do it, I wouldn't have learned. So I think if whatever you're trying now, stepping into the leadership position, right, is probably going to shape you into a brilliant leader one day.
Inshallah.
Yeah, doesn't have to be perfect now, but then this is like, I think best I can say is trust the process.
Trust the process, betul.
Because when I came in as president, or when I came in as a sports director, when I founded the sports department in the university, right, these experiences that I had as the baseball club president, then as the sports officer, right, all contributed to what I know and what I applied to when I was a sports director and later on the president. Yeah.
Process lah.
So I wouldn't have done that, or wouldn't have been able to do that if it weren't for my shortcomings here.
Well, as you can see, many failures teaches you many lessons, right?
That's right.
Yeah, betul. Well, I don't know, I mean, when you guys talk about leadership pun, I pun nak masuk juga. Tapi I just ceritakan sikit je lah. But sebab when you said delegation, I completely can relate to that. Sebab masa I jadi president for the English Language Club, I pun ada masalah juga with delegation because I think I was in the room that knows what to do a lot. Like I know how to do the Canva, like posters, and then I know how to like write stuff. I know how to do like script and everything. So macam bila delegate tu rasa susah sikit lah. Sebab and then one of my advisors came to me, leaders aren't meant to do all the things. They're meant to make the most important decisions. So you let your members do the task. Yeah. So when they do the task, like you said, I get able to grow and macam tu lah. When I say I'm proud of my leadership, I'm not sure. That really depends on who views it. But I think I did a good job in terms of reigniting the spark in the club. Yeah.
No, I was talking about how what's the best for the organization, what's best for the team. So there are going to be situations where you're not, let's say, graphic designer or script writing. Maybe you could write a better script. but maybe it's better for the team for you to let someone else rise.
Yeah, betul.
Right?
That's true. That is true.
There's going to be a time where those reach, and eventually they're going to reach. You know, you have to have that nurturing level where they reach a point where they can do it as good or better than you. But that's when you would know that you've successfully led them.
Betul.
Faham? Okay, no, actually, I understand it now. Because when I was thinking about it, actually, I teach a lot of things. Because I teach taekwondo, and sometimes I have younger siblings, I want to teach them something. What I end up doing is just giving them an example, and then letting them do everything on their own. But this is in a situation where nothing's at stake. It's just their time and they're on this game. So it's so easy for me to just say, just try it first, do it. But then now that I realize, now that you've explained everything, it makes sense that in a team or like in an organization, I have a difficulty saying, just try it first, because I know that it's gonna affect the outcome. As a leader,
That's
people
true.
under you come up with something and you're like, this isn't that good. So
It's like a long-term investment.
Yeah.
You don't see it immediately, which is the reason why it's hard for you to kind of take that
Risk.
that lead, right?
Faham.
But then it's something that is definitely going to help you in the long term,
I see.
because you're creating people you can rely on. Yeah.
Genius, dude. Aku rasa macam big brain.
I feel like we're creating Ziad, we're creating to become a better
Hey,
person.
just try.
Aduh. Tapi I feel like what we have in the team of One Raja Lepak, right? I feel like we're doing it well in terms of delegating the task. Yeah, we have like macam we don't only have Jia, we have Megat, we have Fatihah, your sister, and then we have Haidan, who's doing the audio. So macam I feel like macam we really need to give them a lot of opportunities for them to just do stuff.
I can really see also that passion plays a really important role, because like if they didn't have the passion, if they didn't want to do it in the first place, just like did it because they felt like doing it, then they wouldn't have like see that, okay, this is my first idea and then the next time it's gonna get better and better and better. If they didn't have the passion, they'll be like, oh, this is my result now, okay, I'll just do it again. But then they don't see macam, where can I get better to get to the direction of wanting the best lah.
That's true. Similar to one of the first points we had, I mean, in the earlier conversation, remember I was saying that when you negotiate with someone, you have to show the world in which they win. Same for your teammates. When I say we share a vision, right, the vision that I have, that in which I win, right, is in which that each and every one of you win as well. And when they see that, that's when they have a reason to stay.
Join,
They have a reason to try, right? Yeah.
Betul. Thanks Ziad.
Genius Okay, boleh.
Okay. Tapi now let's talk about something about, like, okay, you talked about your leadership experience kan, macam how you push for change and everything kan. So this actually brings up to another interesting question tau, which is how do you create a space for change? Okay, that's my first question. And then the second question is, how important is student bodies to have more autonomy for themselves, right? Okay, now for the second question, it has some context lah. Okay, kalau kat Malaysia, so macam student bodies it's just orang kata, it's just staff punya staff punya kerja.
Orang suruhan staff.
Orang suruhan staff.
Macam ni budak student buat macam ni. Staff buat macam ni, buat macam ni kan.
Staff delegates.
Staff delegates. So macam kalau my university, macam I don't see much power they have lah. So kiranya dia masih dia terikat dengan birokrasi. Tapi kalau IAM cerita lain lah, lagi political lah.
IAM is a different story.
So macam since you are in a private, which is a completely different scenario.
System,
So we would like to hear your opinion on that. So the first question is, how do you make an atmosphere for change? And second is, how much student body should have autonomy to make to voice out the students' concern?
I think I'll start with the first question.
This is the first question.
Similar to our conversation earlier before we started shooting, actually. I was saying that, okay, actually before I touch on that, so Tuckman's 4 stages of team development.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of that?
No. Nope.
Okay, so the 4 stages of development, I actually learned this from one of the trainers that my university sent our team to.
What is it called?
Right? Tuckman's 4 stages of team development.
Spell out T-U-T?
Tuck, like tuck your baju in.
Oh, tuck man.
Yeah, and then man.
Oh wow, okay, this is a rare case where we type in stuff in between.
No, I wanna take note of this, man. I wanna learn. Continue.
So they say forming, storming, norming, then performing, right? And I feel like some of my teammates actually would argue that I'm very theoretical. But the reason why I find this beneficial to use as like a benchmark to start working, right, is so how it works is when you first form a team, let's say first time we come together, right? Forming stage is where we are still uptight, we haven't broken the ice. I don't know you very well, but we kind of want to work together, right? Or we have a similar goal, or somewhat of a similar goal, right? So this is where I'm still very diplomatic with you. I'm not really telling you what I really think. I'm still taking care of my image. I'm still taking care of how you feel very much, right? And later on, when you begin to start working together, right? And that's where your opinions begin to conflict. And you begin to have different opinions on what could be better or what is best for the team or best for the organization, right? That's where you begin to storm. That means that's where conflict begins, right? And an important thing about storming is that it's actually necessary for all teams to go through before you can reach a point where you can work together or bring the best out of each other. Because unless you go through the storming stage, I wouldn't understand what kind of person you are, what are the kind of things that make you click and make you work best, right? And what are the kind of things that don't bring out the best of you if we didn't go through that storming stage to begin with. And only after you pass the storming stage, then you go into your norming. That's where I begin to normalize us working together, because I understand like these are your lines, these are your limits. If let's say you're the best at bringing back the mood, but you're not best at keeping the mood there, for example. So I can bring you into a conversation with some, I don't know, sponsor. We're trying to convince, right? You bring back the mood, but you're not good at maintaining it. Then I bring Haziq in to maintain the mood or something like that, because that's his strong point. And if I force you to stay in that point, right, you know you don't like it there, you're probably gonna get frustrated or something like that. Then you're gonna screw it up. So as a team, unless we've gone to a point where we screwed something up completely, then after we come like, no, you should have done that, you should have done this, should have done this. That is where we learn about each other.
I see.
And then only after everyone understands how to play that role, only then we can perform together, because then all of us are playing on each other's strengths and weaknesses. So the role of a leader in that, the reason why I'm talking about space for change, right? The role of a leader, right, is to make sure that the team knows it's okay to stop. It's okay to have disagreements. It's okay to debate. And I feel like a lot of the time, if let's say there isn't someone actually actively doing that, like this is healthy for us, this is good, this is something that we have to do, right? People are not going to do it. People are still going to hesitate to do it. People are still going to hesitate to bring that up. And one of the team dynamics I have in my executive team when I was the student association, right, is half of us are liberals, half of us are conservative. Means half of us are like, you know, we should maintain and build on what we already have. The other half is like, we should change everything. Right? And what I always said is that although we disagree with each other, we probably normally don't like each other. Normally people, you won't see teams that come together with these two kind of people, right? I said it's necessary for us to, as long as, and the thing is, it's to build that space where we can argue all you want, right? But at the end of the day, we're on the same team.
Wow.
And that's where the whole building of the vision as a leader is super, super important, because we understand that we all want to head in the same direction. Although, and the way we get there, right, we have to beat at each other to find that out. Right?
Nice.
And when we create that, right, and especially when it comes to like, let's say student associations, right, if let's say we have the trust in the staff that whatever they are trying to, because we talk about bureaucracy, right, are trying to, how to say, enforce onto us, is for the best of us. If we don't have that understanding, right, then we won't trust them whenever they say no. We think they're saying no for the sake of saying no, right? And we want to fight everything. And at the same time, the staff have to understand that what we are pushing out, right, is also for the best of the students. And in a university setting, right, that's for the best of the university, right? And unless that trust is built, right, then there isn't a medium for us to have those conversations. Because if not, it will be a me versus you. And the moment it's a me versus you, right, it's a never-ending battle.
So no one wins the battle lah.
Yeah. It's a me and you against the problem.
Me and you against the problem. Wow. Tapi macam, okay. Now, this actually kind of reminds me of the story that you told me tadi pasal how you had a hard time transitioning to that change. Kan sebab sebelum ni, in your university, the three iterations of your of the student council tak menjadi sangat. They lose trust from the staff, they lose trust from the students. How did you gain that back? That process?
It doesn't happen overnight. And you know, I was talking about long-term investment.
Yeah.
There are times where you will have to do things that are almost like self-sacrificial in order for you to move on. Like, let's say I put in all this effort to prove to someone, like, even though they say no, even though I know it's not going to work out, right? But it's just to prove to someone, right, that this is how committed I am to whatever I'm trying to do. And let's say when it comes to one of the things that we tried in our university, this is probably not the best example, but it's an event, right? We wanted to use the rooftop. I'm not sure if you've seen Heriot Watt University Malaysia.
No, we haven't. Yeah.
They have like an arc, you know, and then on the arc, right, there's like a grass land on top here, and then our building is under it. But the thing is, we're not allowed to use this arc. So one of the things that we were trying to do is that we wanted to run our recruitment drive on the arc, like on the grass and whatnot. Put our tents or booths or whatnot there, right, and do it. And I said that would be fantastic for your marketing, for the university marketing. You're looking that we can do events at the top there. Confirm chance. It's like, if you actually been to the place, it's actually really beautiful at the top there. But you know, they have their safety concerns and whatnot. And that was probably one of the best times we actually were storming with the staff, you know. And for us, we draw that picture, we gave that vision, and the staff also said, okay, we can see why you want to do this, we can see the value in it and whatnot. And we respected the staff, we followed the right bureaucracy, we went through the right people and whatnot, right? And in the end, we didn't get to do it. And our reasoning why we didn't get to do it is because we don't own the building. The building is owned by PJH. And under the grass, there's like piping. And that piping hasn't been checked in for like forever. So if we were to go on top, right, PJH condition is yes, you can do it, but if anything happens, you take responsibility. And PJH hasn't been maintaining it at the time. Actually, this might become political, so we might want to cut it out. But or just beep it.
we don't mess it beep. What PJ is it?
Yeah, PJ.
Yeah. Every time
just say that we had to take responsibility for whatever happened up there.
Yeah.
Right? And in the end, we decided that's not a risk we wanted to take. So in the end, we wanted to fight. In the short term, right, we didn't get what we want. But because we followed all the right systems, because we worked with the university staff the whole way, right, after that, the university realized that, you know, these guys are doing things right. These are people that we want to work with. So then when we wanted to do a run, we had a run. Actually, I have the baju somewhere. But that was the first time our university had a run. We had like 1,900 participants or something like that come to our university to do a 5 km run, right? The staff worked with us hand in hand the entire process of it. So it wasn't just a student run event. But when I say work in hand, right, that means the bureaucracy existed before this, right? But then let's say now it's just us students trying to break into the bureaucracy, right? Just us alone. But now the staff are in there, right? And they're aware of what we're trying to do, and they're helping us pull back and forth where we can and what we can do, making sure that what we're doing is in line with the university policies and whatnot. And that helped us tremendously because the bureaucracy is there to, in one way or another, protect us as well as students, right? And it's extremely difficult when it's only being enforced. That means it's only a no to us. But when it's a collaboration, right, then it's a lot more easier because it doesn't feel like we're working against each other anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It feels like what you're doing is for us. Although it's a pain in the ass, but it is for us.
It is for us.
And what we are doing is for you. And when we begin, and the thing is, we needed that whole thing where we failed and didn't do it, but we did it the right way, right? And us as students, it was like a humongous failure. We put so much months into this and we got nothing out of it. But actually, if you look at it from a grander scale, right, the trust that we built with the staff, right, is invaluable. And I say even in my term 1 year, right, I only benefited from one event. But now the next student council that comes in, right, they're going to benefit from that trust for years to come.
Wow.
That's a lot of information.
Yeah.
no, I'm not saying myself like it's a lot of information. It's not much, but like it's a lot for me to think of in terms of development. Yeah, like your experience is valuable to you, and now we're trying to share it with everyone. And definitely to me personally, it's making me think like, oh, okay. Look,
Ilya is known for talking a lot. So.
no, it's amazing. I love it. I love your experience. It sounds like if I went through that, you know, I would have learned a lot too.
Yeah.
I feel like it begins with a reflection. You know, I was still telling you about your reflection.
what was it? What did you call it? It was an Islamic term. We call it.
Tadabbur.
Tadabbur. Yeah.
That's a reflection. Yeah. Steve Jobs. This is my favorite quote. I've said it in like 7 of my 9 speeches. Steve Jobs said, "You can never connect the dots looking forwards. You only connect them looking back." So if you see, you know what I'm saying about trust and whatnot, right? If let's say in the short term, and I was only looking at the short term and never look back to connect the dots on like why we are where we are here today, right? I would have never seen the benefit in all of this. But at the time all this happens, right, it's like I had the trust to draw that dot, right? And I trust that it will connect somewhere down the line. And the only time I can see it all connect is when I sit down
and look at the back
and I reflect.
I see.
And I go like, this happened because of this, this, and this. And that's when I begin to see the value in all those experiences that I had.
So like before we like how many minutes are we in right now?
46.
Oh, 46. That's quite long. Okay, but before we like we want to end it off, right? Before, it's just a game, man, but the experience is very valuable.
Yeah.
We want to know like how did you gain the trust from the students? Because I think from my university, I think this is a big problem because the MPP, so the Majlis Perwakilan Pelajar, right? They're doing a fantastic. They're doing not. I wouldn't say fantastic, but they're doing a great job lah in terms of dealing with the management. But how did you get the students punya trust?
So in simple terms, I'll start with transparency and communication. And I feel like the students need to see what you're doing. My mom always taught me that justice must not only be done, but must be seen to be done. So let's say even if, let's say, person A killed person B, for example, right? And because person A kills person B, let's say in a just to put in simple terms lah, of course it's not the best example, but person A has to be sentenced to death. Example lah, right? If let's say person A is sentenced to death and the public sees it but they don't understand why he was sentenced to death, what would they think of the...
Kita pause je.
What, memory full lah?
No, very.
Yeah. Okay.
So kena guna phone kot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun.
Oh, tu bawah tu.
Dun dun dun.
Remember where you left off?
Don't worry, justice is seen.
Just give me a minute.
The under above apa ni kat atas Under Armour punya kasut.
Dekat dia
kasut kotak.
On the left.
Oh,
Yes.
Are you guys hot? I'm actually sweating.
I'm fine.
Yeah, fine.
I think he's sweating.
I'm not sweating.
You sure?
Oh, maybe I don't.
You're kind of wet, man.
Yeah, so fun.
You do taekwondo, right?
Yeah.
ITF, WTF?
WTF.
WTF, I see. I used to do ITF.
I did ITF too. I did both. Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I made it all the way up to like red black, but then I didn't pay like the 1,000 ringgit, so I never got black.
So expensive.
Yeah, I think it came with like the uniform and the belt with like your name and your dan,
1,000?
if I'm not mistaken. And then I think the grading itself was 500.
What the?
Really? Yeah, this was my school lah. So
No, because like WT is just around like 100 something, 120 got for first dan.
oh yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Like macam second dan is like 200, third dan is like 300 or something. So it's not like too expensive to the point where it's like 500. Like 500 should be something like really higher than like around 5th dan, baru like 500 plus.
I see.
1,000?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I was just thinking because I was thinking like if I got black belt onwards, is it third dan onwards where you can begin training people?
ITF and WT is different. For us is generally second dan is macam boleh dapat instructor certificate lah.
I see.
But master is like 5 dan and above.
I was thinking at least to the point where I can become a instructor, right?
Yeah.
That would have been a good certification to have. But I haven't done it since lah, so I don't think I can just go back in.
Boleh je, tak masalah.
I don't remember any of the, what do you call it?
Pattern,
My sister calls it Taegyok.
Tengok ya.
I don't remember any. I only remember like the start of green belt or something.
Faham. Why don't you get back into it? Why don't you feel like getting back into it?
No, I mean, so the thing is I'm planning to take up a martial art or some sort of self-defense thing soon as well lah. I haven't decided which one.
Well, here in Putrajaya ada je this one gym called MMA Strive. You can learn MMA there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we can connect him with siapa?
Oh, Coach Fahim.
Coach Fahim.
Oh yeah. So like we did a video about kickboxing.
Yeah, I watched that.
Yeah. So we can hook you up with the coach. If you want.
Yeah.
I see. Cool. I have a few friends that we're also planning to do so lah.
Sekali. So.
Yeah, my gym friends lah.
We're good.
Alright.
Ready?
Okay.
3, 2, 1, rolling.
We're back.
Alright. We're back after a long commercial break.
Camera died.
But it's alright. We want to talk about justice is seen. We were talking about
yes.
Dia kena reload dulu.
Yeah. Buffering sekejap.
Justice must not only be done but must be seen to be done. If I'm not mistaken, I was talking about person A killing person B.
Yeah.
And then if the government decides to kill person A, right, and the public doesn't understand why person A was killed, then they would think that that's unjust. If they don't understand why B is happening. And I feel like that feedback loop often is probably what creates or drifts the student association with the students. If let's say the students give, let's say I tell you that the bus is coming too late, right? And us as students, it's not the best. We would prefer if the bus came earlier, etc. And then after that, me as a student leader, right, I go like, okay, I'll go bring it to the management. I bring it to the management. The management explains to me, actually, based on the scheduling, right, it's just not possible for us to make the bus come any earlier, right? So this is why we cannot do it. And that information never goes back to the students. If it never goes back to the students, right, then what do the students think of the student leaders?
So macam this
Right.
trust, the mistrust lah.
Yeah, because there isn't that transparency. Because if I tell you and the students have that understanding as well, right, then the students know that we've done our job. But the students doesn't know, although we have done our job, but if students don't see that we've done our job, right, then that's what creates a drift. So for our situation, right, when everything went quiet, after I was telling you a civil war, TLDR, things happened in the council, half the council quit and the council wasn't functioning properly, right? From a student point of view, they just realized that we couldn't rely on the student association anymore. Because we text them, they don't answer and whatnot. They don't see what's happening or why that's happening. So for them, they go like, what's the point of reaching out to the association anymore? Right? So when we came back in order for us to rebuild that trust, right, we needed to go lengths on talking to students, listening to their feedback, and then making sure that our media that we pump out also, right, has an understanding of what we are doing and why we're doing it. Normally we see like, everyone's showing like what we're doing. We don't know why they post that. It's like they have nothing else to post probably, right? It's actually, there's a reason why these need to be posted. So let's say we have this student welfare committee. This is where we give our welfare feedback, or well-being feedback. Anything non-academic lah, right? One of the initiatives that my term did, right, was after we come back from these SWC meetings, we create a video to tell students what we've done with the feedback you've given us, and what feedback we've gotten to the university, what changes have happened because of us. And the thing is, even if we post it up there, not everyone watches it, right? So at the same time, we created that space in our student common room where it's normal, or we made it normal for students to just come in and talk to us about what they're having. And I feel like that conversation, they see us often, like they see what we're doing, they see us in the office, they see us interacting with other students, then that's what begins to build trust. I feel like presence is important.
Faham? Wow. Haziq mesti fikir banyak.
I think you can see it at a bigger level as well. Let's say our ministers.
Yeah.
Let's say when Syed Sadiq and Hana Yo comes down to help with the flooding.
Yeah.
That's when we feel more connected with them.
Yeah.
Because we can see them helping us down. Although they didn't have to. And they're probably doing their job at their own time or whatnot, right? But they're coming down.
As
and
presence.
Yeah. Their presence is there. We feel supported because they're there. It feels like they're there for us. That's how we build trust, I feel.
Betul.
I mean, that's my perspective from a leader's perspective. Of course, if I were to listen, I would normally have this conversation with students as well. It's like, what do you think of the student association? Like, before I tell you anything about what I do, what do you think I do? Right? How do you feel like you can reach out to me or stuff like that? And I feel like that's where I learn about what they see as well.
Faham. So I guess in some way macam the reason why it's important to have this student association is that betul-betul like, and betul-betul push the agenda for students lah, but in a more diplomatic way lah.
So, the reason why I'm diplomatic is because I believe in building connections with other people. You know, I was talking about building trust with the staff,
Yeah.
right? So I was saying that we have liberals on my team, right?
Yeah.
So I have people on my team who go like, screw the relationships with the staff. But because we're on the same team, we have that balance. I'll be like, okay lah, you're right. Because from my perspective, right, when I go to, because I'm more diplomatic. I wouldn't say I'm completely conservative. I still go for change, but I'm more reserved than most liberals.
You're a centrist.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, a good example was okay, I can't give the specific example, but it was something along the lines of we wanted to change something the way the staff are doing, right?
Yeah.
From my perspective, I'll be like, I am trying to understand why the staff are saying no, right? And I would say that the reason why the staff are saying no is because of these systems are in place, and this is something that they always difficult for them to do practically, right? And then my teammate will say, yeah, I understand the staff's reality, but there's the student's reality as well, right? And me and my role as a vice president, this is exactly what he told me, is to speak up for the students, not for the staff. So it's my role to push the student agenda, and then the staff agenda should be pushed back by them.
Betul.
We shouldn't be the one pushing back us.
This dynamic,
Yeah. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. And the only reason why I could accept that, right, is because I had someone like that on my team, and because we could have a conversation, although we were disagreeing, right? Because we had that conversation, it's like, okay, this is something we will go forward with, and this is something we'll continue to push.
I see. Maybe we should really, I don't know, I guess change requires that push-pull element, right?
Yeah.
The trust from the students as well as the trust from the staffs. So I think you kind of answered the second question, like, you know, macam, why do we need student bodies in that sense?
So you talk about, I'm not sure if I answered the autonomy.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You didn't answer it directly. You didn't answer it
in a way. So
in a way, yeah.
I'm saying that it doesn't have to be completely independent, because at the end of the day, it's a collaboration.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's my humble opinion. Some people
Yeah.
might
Disagree.
disagree, and I'm happy to work with people who disagree. But I think that there is a reason why the bureaucracy is in place.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
faham.
important, you know.
It's important.
You can't always see bureaucracy as something that's bad. You know, there's always a
Yeah.
reason for it.
Yeah.
Betul. I mean,
There has to be a balance.
but what's bad is that kalau terlalu banyak bureaucracy, that makes it a pain to
Too much of anything.
too much of everything.
There has to be a
Another
balance.
balance, yeah, that's right.
Okay lah.
Okay, that's good. That's amazing. Wow. what a story. What a story. I'm sure there's many more stories.
I mean, this is what Unveiled Lepak is all about. It's all about sharing the stories, connecting with many young people as possible,
Betul.
because, you know, we young people may just be starting out life, but we're able to collect as many experience that can help us share to become better.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, before we want to end this podcast, right? Okay, now since you've gone through, I'd say, a life-changing experience from being a leader lah, being a ni lah, but benda lah, okay? Like, there's so much to explore from your story. So, if you were to give advice to students, student leaders, or maybe to your younger self, what would that advice be after all the things that you've gone through?
My favorite word, I think, in this podcast is pretty evident: reflection.
Tadabur.
Yeah. I think if, let's say, you want to grow, you're not comfortable in the spot that you are now, right? Growth comes when, or at least in my opinion, growth comes when you begin taking responsibility over the things that are happening in your life. And when I say, then the more responsibility you take up, the more capable you become as a person as well. So stepping into the leadership position, right, as Haziq was saying as well, not perfect, but because he decided to, I'm going to step into this role, I'm going to take responsibility over this club and whatnot, and the direction of the club, and whether it goes right or go wrong, right, I'm going to take responsibility for the decisions that are made in there, right? Then you begin to learn, what can I do better? What can I do best? And at this age, as students, right, when you come in, this is actually the perfect time for us to begin learning. So my advice to, if I were to give advice to my younger self or to younger people out there, is to put yourself out there. Don't expect everything to work out perfectly. And as you go, make mistakes. But as you make mistakes, be thoughtful about it. Reflect and take it as lessons that will eventually create the person who you're becoming.
That's a good recap of what you just said.
Yeah.
Man, sometimes I just feel like, what's next for our next guest?
Yeah.
Sebab honestly, man, young people. This is what I feel whenever I talk to young people lah. This is what we get. This is the quality of not just him but many other Malaysians out there. So we hope that we can reach to more young people and talk about their stories and journeys and help other young people become better. Yeah. Wow, that was a really good episode, man.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. But fortunately, we don't have much time.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to wrap it up. But thank you, Ilya, so much for coming on our podcast.
Not at all. It's my pleasure.
Apa ni, pandangan kau tu memang sangat berharga lah.
Berharga.
Thank
Tak
you.
ada tak, dia tak berharga, dia tak ada harga.
Oh, tak ada harga.
Terlampau.
sangat menilai lah. Okay, jadi thank you for listening to Anak Jom Lepak. You can follow Ilya.
Hi. Oh wait. Sorry, I didn't prepare this.
Where's your business card?
There. But it doesn't. I don't think it has anything here.
Okay, you can
This is
follow.
my university.
Okay, so I'll just read it out. Just read it out.
It's okay. My Instagram is IRIYA_DS.
Okay, nice.
Area.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's my Japanese name.
Wow. Okay, now
Okay.
that's something new. All right, something new that we should discover later.
Wow.
Later?
Yeah,
So why not?
Yeah, we're doing that episode. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, maybe.
You can follow Anak Jom Lepak on a lot of platforms. You can follow on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. We don't have Twitter yet. In Facebook, and I think that's pretty much it.
Yep.
And you can follow me at Sarim Haikal on Instagram, Sarim Haikal, and you can follow Haziq.
Put the what do you call it? The caption.
Oh, betul juga.
Betul kan? Yeah.
And Haziq at Hazikado, HAZIICADO. Khalas. Thank you.
Khalas.
Thank you.
Khalas.
Jahit.
That's it then.
Mumtaz.
Alhamdulillah. That is all from us. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Okay.
Eh.
Sekejap. Tepuk dulu.